So there were 7 or 8 scripts that had beats, like comedic beats. Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky, who created The Office, and we had some brilliant writers write these scripts, but there was no scripted dialogue, so it was mostly improvisation. The idea was, here were these scripted beats that we had to find moments for. At the beginning, you know, we were worried that he would get suspicious, so we had to make deposits into the reality bank, we called it, which is like, let's do 3 or 4 hours of just boring court. So we had the ability with these brilliant lawyers to just go in and, you know, set the stage to be like, well, this can't be a show, because that's the most boring 5 hours I've ever spent in my life.
Right.
So anytime he would get suspicious, Jake Szymanski, the director, would say, okay, guys, we got to pull it back a little bit. And we would find little moments to push the comedy beats that were written in the script.
Unlike most people who went to the Late Show with Stephen Colbert on May 1st, I was not upset about missing the Colbert Questionnaire with Nicolas Cage. I mean, my mom was a little disappointed because she likes Nicolas Cage's acting work more than I do, but she isn't really a huge fan of the Colbert Questionnaire, so that is why she is okay with the Colbert Questionnaire being filmed on a much earlier date. I mean, I have expected the Late Show with Stephen Colbert to have James Gunn or some of the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 show up because May 1st came on earlier in the same week of premiere for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But given that Amazon Freebies, Jury Duty is an 8-episode streaming series, and all 8 episodes aired 2 weeks and 1 day before May 1st, I still think it's nice that James Marsden gave us enough time to watch all 8 episodes before talking about his experiences on public talk shows, while the cast and crew of Renfield and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 were still doing their publicity tours in those 2 weeks since the premiere of all 8 episodes of Jury Duty. Now, Stephen Colbert, I really loved attending your May 1st show, the last episode before the strike, and I really liked watching your conversation with James Marsden and the singer woman Joy. But yes, Stephen Colbert, yeah, I'm one of the few studio audience members who was not upset or disappointed about missing the Nicolas Cage Colbert Questionnaire, because I like the filmography of and acting work of James Marsden more than Nicolas Cage, since James Marsden has more variety in the types of media in which he acts. And because I was beginning to get tired, and I wanted to, so I was okay with leaving an hour early.
We are demanding that this industry be one that can sustain a career. It's sort of as simple as that. We have a consistently profitable business, but right now the actions of the studios are ones that seem like they only care about Wall Street. They're chasing a rabbit they're never going to catch, and in that pursuit, they're running over the workers of this industry.
James Marsden, I'm very proud of you and your Jury Duty cast for, before the strike occurred. I'm glad that you spared your writers all that hard work of writing dialogue, only having to write a few comedic beats.
They sort of have said, we do not care that you all can no longer make a career in this industry. They just want to continue to get as much work out of us for the least amount of money. I think that that's not something that's unique to our industry. It's something that has been happening and will continue to happen, and we're standing up to it. We have to take a stand, or there won't be television writers anymore. They will negotiate us out of existence.
I wish the best of luck to Jury Duty writers like Marcos Gonzalez, Mickey Leeper, and Carrie O'Neill, Abbott Elementary writers like Brittany Nichols, Justin Tan, and Joya McCrory, who work so hard to create the films and television shows that we love, to get the streaming revenue residuals you deserve. You deserve to have a long and stable career in writing that isn't ruined by neoliberalism and capitalism, putting everybody out of a job for their long-term careers. I will check back in with you on day 100 of the strike, August 9th, and I really hope that you actually succeed in ending the strike and getting the incentives you deserve before then.
The 2007 strike, 2007, 2008, went on for 100 days. What did you gain from that strike? What did you accomplish? So
I was not part of that strike. I was, I think, still a teenager at that point. But one of the things that we gained was domain over the internet. That's when all of these streaming services were first popping up, and YouTube was a thing. And what the studios were saying was that you all should not have any payment for anything that goes online. And if we had not made those gains, if we had not gone on strike and put our foot down back then, there wouldn't be television writers now. We've already seen, how important it is for us to stand up for ourselves, because could you imagine all of the streaming shows that you know and love, writers not making any money off of those? That was the future that the studios wanted. They want to continue to push us down and bully us. And it's not even a matter of we don't want it to happen. We can't let it happen, or television writers will no longer be a thing. Television staffs will no longer be a thing, because no one will be able to afford it.
So, Stephen Colbert, thank you, and James Marsden and Joy O for giving me and my mom a very entertaining show on May 1st. I hope the strike ends well for you and your writers, and I'm glad they at least had the patience to wait until the 2022-2023 fall to spring television season was over to start doing this. So the next season of television is less likely to be cut short, like the 2007-2008 season. Now, Claire Corlett and Ian Corlett, daughter and father, Claire Margaret Corlett and Ian James Corlett, were the first pair of Canadian voice actors that I've seen in person at the Brony Cons, with the Baltimore Brony Cons in 2017, 2018, and 2019, with voice actors I know from voice actors, writers, and also casting director and a music composer from Littlest Pet Shop and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic at the Brony Cons in Baltimore, or as My Little Pony would call it, Baltimore. So, as you can expect, 3 years after the last Brony Con I've seen in Baltimore, 3 years after that Brony Con and after the pandemic lockdown, I was very excited to see my first pair of American voice actors in Late Night with Seth Meyers and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Quinta Brunson from Laser Wolf and Stephen Colbert from Harvey Birdman and Attorney at Law, which both happen to be Adult Swim shows, but they have had other acting credits in several other animated television shows before the dates I saw them in person, and that's why I was happy to see them in real life. And if I had seen somebody from Guardians of the Galaxy first, and Stephen Colbert, it would have been pretty cool for me to see Zoe Saldana when she's already played a character in the My Little Pony movie, but instead I got something just as great. I got to see James Marsden, who played a character in My Little Pony New Generation. And what I think is very interesting about the Wander Over Yonder episode, The Hero, in which James Marsden plays Brad Starlight, that Wander Over Yonder episode that spoofs, makes fun of fairy tales.
It's not a crazy mission! The prophecy foretold!
Prophecy? You mean like your diary from when we were, 15? Look, Brad, I know this is hard, but things don't always work out the way you want. Life isn't a fairy tale.
It might actually be a crossroads between James Marsden's roles in Enchanted and Jury Duty, and I think the movie Enchanted was the reason that James Marsden got noticed and cast for that 3-time guest role of Sir Brad Starlight, as well as knowing Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock. But yeah, and since James Marsden is a much more humble guy in real life than the way he acts in Henchmen and Jury Duty and Wander Over Yonder, I'm sure James Marsden and the rest of his cast of improvisers will do their part to help the writers of Jury Duty, Abbott Elementary, and other current television shows that have a new season coming up in 2023. They're all going to do their part to help them negotiate for better pay and residuals on not just home media content like DVDs, but also streaming services, because they need to earn more, not less than they did 10 years ago. They deserve to be paid what they're worth, because most of these films and television shows would be nothing without the people who write them, except for improvisational shows like Jury Duty, where the actors do most of the writing as they go along. And what's really great about having a lawyer consultant a real life lawyer for a consultant who acts in the show, Alan Barinholtz, and other real lawyers help Jury Duty along, is that they all made Jury Duty a very entertaining, kind of diverse series that became the legal comedy of streaming services that She-Hulk wanted to be and could only dream of becoming, because She-Hulk was too lazy to do any actual work with portraying realistic court cases, even though half of Disney's employees are lawyers who really should have helped Jessica Gao and her team of writers and directors do a better job with the Shield series of Disney Plus. In a similar fashion, Turning Red was the Pixar film about a mother and daughter relationship and transforming into bears that Brave wanted to be. So to Stephen Colbert and all of his hardworking camera crew and very valuable writers, I really hope you enjoy the Colby and Camembert cheese that I gave to security to give to you. And I also wish Stephen Colbert a very happy birthday.
Writers are the backbone of this industry. Nothing gets made without us. And I think that the studios will be in for quite a rude surprise